Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Can I first ask, how many of you were at the Wakefield show this year? Right, good. Well, that does a number of new things that you won't have seen from us. Now, I've not actually, normally I bring with me a pile of things and hold them up and show them, but I've actually got organised this year and got some slides, which should come up in just a moment. Yeah, this one is for if you're really into your retro stuff. This is an Econet clock unit that chap over in Sweden, Simon Inns, that's designed a few bits of retro things, have done, and we're able to offer that. And it basically has two sockets on it, but it also has a provision for two cables, sort of captive cables. So effectively, you could actually have a mini Econet network with nothing else, because you plug two terminators in to the end of a couple of the cables, and server and client. But of course, most people go on more than that, but we just happen to have the right cables or cabling to do that as well. So that's that we launched that one at the Wakefield show. Another thing that we launched there is, well, it's not a RISC PC motherboard we launched, but you may spot that there's a little different board there with a battery in the rather different than normal position. Basically, what we've done is a real-time clock that plugs physically onto the post test. It gets its power and earth from the connections on there, and then two wires have to actually go from underneath there through a little hole and get soldered onto two of the pads on the backplane connector to get your I2C. This we found that there are those people that are keeping their RISC PCs going on and on and on for 25, 30 years, whatever it is. Sometimes the damage due to a little bit of battery leakage over here can be such that it's really not feasible to actually repair the clock part of it. Fortunately, sometimes the clock is not really repairable, but the rest of the board is okay. So for those people, we have this board. In actual fact, Andrew's done quite a bit of interesting design, because the same PCB, we can put different connectors on it to allow it to plug into, to effectively plug onto a backplane connector, the same connector as you would have on a normal podule, so it's effectively a podule clock, an ordinary podule clock, a mini podule clock. I'm sure there's another option for it, but I can't remember what it is now. So we've just redesigned that, so because we had to have some more PCBs done of that, so that's been very useful. Then also, for those people using older systems, this is an IDE podule so for early machines, 310s, or even people with, even say like with RISC PC, and they're wanting to use some drives that are not compatible with the Acorn motherboard, because there are a number that's true of. Now, in actual fact, that's true particularly of the compact flash cards and SD card adapters. So if you've got an older machine, quite a few people say, well, I'll do away with the spring rust, I'll replace it with an IDE to compact flash adapter. Now, IDE to compact flash adapters, as you may know, they're effectively dumb units, because compact flash is effectively IDE, but the actual compact flash cards, most of the ones you could find on the market seem to be they don't work with the Acorn IDE interface. Plugging one of these in will allow you to do that. And also we've got some adapters that allow you to actually use an SD card in preference. One of the things we have done, so if I'll just finish this, then I'll take a question then. What we've also designed is a lot of those interfaces are of, right, they look like this. So this is a compact, no sorry, this is an SD card one. They have pins on them, and you can get adapter cables go from 44 pin to 40, but then you've got to sort out the power, and then you've got no way of actually mounting it properly. So what we've actually done is we've put on here that connector there that can plug straight into it. So you don't have any cables at all. It makes life that little bit easier for people. And then one thing that I haven't actually got a slide of is the mini module version of this. So that goes into plugs into it's a standard mini module, and we put the adapter goes in like that, and just sort of stays pretty firmly in place. Sorry about that. Right, the only thing with those is just you just be a bit careful on some of them which way around this goes in, because it's not, on a number of them it's not it's not obvious. Like I think on this one you end up with the chip goes underneath, so it's almost, you think it's the wrong way up. But so if you ever get one of these, do be very careful about putting it in the right way. Things do work very well if they're not. Sorry, you were going to ask a question?
Yeah, I'm just curious, you know, so those compact flashes are generally compatible with motherboard and RISC OS, but they are this car making compatible. What's the core reason for that? It's not supposed to make to a standard, allegedly.
Yeah, I'm not that technical, but I believe it's something to do with like Acorn assumed PIO mode 4 or something, and these later cards are able to, and this was also true of the earlier things like the Arkin cards, the Blitz cards. Most of those supported a wider range of drives than Acorn's motherboard. Of course, Acorn's motherboard was designed quite a few years ago, so they designed it for the current standard, or certainly popular standard. Acorn, I think, were pretty good, generally speaking, trying to build in longevity of things and comply with standards in that way, but unfortunately that is the case. But yeah, so that's the ZIDFS for that, because yes, Ian Stocks basically did the firmware and schematics effectively for the design of that. And John, I forgot his surname, John Courting in the Netherlands did the software for it, or he modified the software that he had to work. So that's a good product. Oh, sorry, yeah. So this is with it plugs in. I forgot I had the slide for that. So yes, you'll see it plugs in with the card on the top and the electronics are underneath, which is probably not intuitive. But the other thing is what we have also done when we've done things like that, we've built in things like the connection here for I2C. So it provides a nice, simple, easy way of controlling things via I2C on older bits of kit. Because yes, it's on the module backplane, but you don't really want to be using a whole module slot just to make a connection for I2C. And that's with the compact flash version of it in place. Then we also managed to locate some decent, reasonably priced, small LCD displays that have HDMI input, because there were an awful lot around the place at very reasonable prices that had VGA input, but if you wanted to use small things well, Pi, obviously, you often might want to have something small connected to a Pi, but we've now got a 7-inch and a 10-inch. That's the 7-inch version, and this here, well, they call it a 10.1-inch. You can see that it's also got its HDMI input. I can't remember off the top of my head what the resolution of that one is, but I think 10-inch. But it's, well, most people's eyesight would be strained to read it at its full native resolution. It's certainly good there. And then there's this remote pointer. We realised it would be nice when we do the talk, why not actually use a pointer? So you'll see I'm actually using one here at the moment. For that, it's basically anything that takes a RISC OS London kit that will take a USB keyboard, or it's been adapted to take a USB keyboard. You can plug this in and use it. It just emulates basically the mouse clicks so I can go back to the previous one or go forward. So it's all very straightforward, but very useful, and £19. It doesn't break the bank. Then
has it got a menu?
No, I'm trying to think what the other. There's another button here. I can't remember how. Well, it might be could be able to be configured. That I didn't have that need myself. But yes, it basically we just basically use Key Mapper to get it to do this for us. I can't remember what the default operation that it gets, but we didn't have to write actually. We just found Key Mapper with a set of key map settings for it. Is all we just load the Key Mapper and the settings file. And then what we've also produced for people like that have got titanium that have 2 screens. This actually is a KVM that switches 2 screens between 2 monitors, so you can output from 2 computers, and both of which, or one of which, can be double screen and then swap over to the other. Now, actually, one of the nice things about this unit is you may notice the extra holes there, which basically, as some of you will know, that means it DVI-I, which means it will actually switch VGA inputs. It doesn't do any digitization, so basically, if you want to have VGA going into here, so you could have, say, like a titanium connected up to it, and alternatively a RISC PC connected up to the other connection. But then on your monitor, on the output side, you also use a DVI-I cable. Normally, actually, as a splitter, it comes out DVI-I and it goes into the monitor, DVI-ID's socket, and the other part of the splitter cable goes into the VGA socket. So you can actually use both analog and digital computers with a monitor and switch. If you don't need the 2 screens, we do also have a number of other just standard KVMs that don't do 2 screens, that actually are DVI-I, so they will switch analog and digital. So you can have, say, an Ionics or a RISC PC, and then connect that, the other input being either a Pi or one of our Rapidos will give you do the switching. And the front of a KVM, it's very simple, straightforward. Fortunately, at the moment, there does seem to be a slight issue with the USB on the titanium for this, but we're hoping to get that addressed sooner rather than later, but there is a bit of an issue there, unfortunately. And then, if you're wanting a nice, neat Pi box, then the Pi desktop is the smallest way of getting a neat solution. So we have those available with built-in drives, SSD drives. And then we move on to basically, well, most common use of this case, what we could refer to as our case A, is for the Raspberry Row, which is basically if you're wanting a Raspberry Pi in a proper desktop case, and you want, say, like a CD-ROM drive in there, this will allow you to do that. The front fascia that just opens up and has a slot CD-ROM drive in there. And then we've got, you can also use this case, which is a little bit stylish, but doesn't actually support CD-ROM drive, but does have full USB, which some people like. And the third case, which I've jumped ahead a bit here. The third case, which actually, the one thing of that, it's a desktop case. Some people like it because it actually has the power supply integral in the case. So you don't have to have a box sitting outside. The other ones, certainly the first one, some people like because it uses a standard 12-volt input. So if you're going to try and use it for somebody's environment where you're actually powering your computer not off the mains, then that would be the one to go for.
Can I ask if they're just cases in your own Pi?
Right. There's nothing really to stop you from putting your own Pi into them. We did develop a special ATX bracket to support a Pi. Now, we had a number of them made. Of course, they then changed the design of the Pi. So we actually hand modify them, which is really quite a pain in the neck to do. So we don't normally sell brackets on their own. They don't look particularly pretty, and we'd have to charge about 40 quid. Would only up beyond minimum wage really for doing that. Which is, if someone really wanted it, we could supply that. Then we come on to this case. Now, this one actually is I was going to say NLX. No, I don't mean NLX. I forgot. It's basically it's the fact it accepts. You could put a Pi into here, and you can also put one of the iGEP-based systems using this one. The iGEPs systems can use any of the cases we do, so that's 4 different cases you can use. But this one will take it's the smallest case that will take a titanium. It's not NLX, I've forgotten what form factor the titanium is. It's got an X in it anyway, as most of these do. It has the advantage, it's a little bit larger, and it actually supports multiple drives. So theoretically on this one, I think you can have the optical drive and 3 SSD drives, well, 3 other drives, 2 of which I think have to be 2.5 inch, but one could be 3.5 inch. But we did supply a couple of people that they wanted to have a titanium system and they would often use the dual boot of having a PC running at Linux as well, and they'd have an extra drive in there so that it could be differently formatted to FAT format, which meant therefore it could be accessed both from RISC OS and from Linux. And you can fit that in this case. So basically, yes, you've got so after the Rapido Row, if you're wanting something more powerful system, then the Rapido range with either the iGEP motherboard in there or the titanium in there. There's basically pros and cons between the two. Titanium has some advantages. It dual output on screen, dual Ethernet, but things like RISC OS can't utilise the extra Ethernet, and at the moment the dual screen proper software support isn't really there, but it can be used if that's what you want, but you do pay a bit extra for that. But we have a variety of those with special show prices on that. Just Sorry, can you bear with me just one second? Could I just... I meant to bring my own yes, and I just quickly flick through here and see if there's anything else that I meant to mention. Oh right, yes, one of the things is, well, RISC OS 4, sorry, Raspberry Pi 4, as I'm sure you all know, RISC OS doesn't really work on it yet. But you know, we've already got ourselves organised, and we've got all the various special micro HDMI adapters and USB-C power supplies and USB-C adapters. So we've got most of those with us, including actually some Raspberry Pi 4s. If some people want to start playing around with it as with Raspbian, we have those with us to go. And yes, well, one of the things, if anyone is like with an older system still need a parallel port printer, the parallel port, last parallel port laser printer that we were using, they stopped producing. So we managed to find there is one other still in production for reasons that are totally unknown to us. Doesn't make any sense. They've not used the standard 25-way D-type for the output. They've got a 26-way 3-row D-type that I have never seen before. Therefore means the printed cable is 60 quid. But if you're needing that sort of usage, yeah, we can keep you going. I think it's actually one customer we've got in New York who last time he needed a printer, he said he got us to ship it from this country to him, and he bought, you know, a 110 to 240, sorry, 240, no, yes, 110 to 240 adapter for, but no, we're going to try and, we found we can source that printer in the States and we'll get it shipped direct to him. But he's a gentleman, he uses his system on for Sibelius, and he just wants to carry on using it. It's not really an option for him to change. And I think he's one of the gentlemen that when he speaks on the phone he says, I'm 82, you know, which is not an uncommon thing for people to tell us. The years might vary, but not a lot. So we keep people going with doing things like that. Now, one of the other things was we did have a hope for at least one new product today, but when it arrived, the item, we found it wasn't up to the specification that we were told it was, so that's not made it. We're there are various things that we're working on, and hopefully will come to fruition, but nothing that I can particularly talk about at the moment. Because one of the reasons is, certainly since Wakefield, well, last couple of years I was busy with renovating a house and moving to that, but now I've been rather busy because we've moved premises. After 36 years in our Worthing shop, we get the number of people that come to us as a shop is maybe only once or twice a week. The RISC OS user come to us, and often they're coming from out of county. So where we are didn't really matter, so we didn't really need a shop. So we found somewhere else. Now, this is actually a photograph taken from my bedroom window, and you'll notice opposite, I zoomed in, and between the two houses opposite you can see a gasometer in the distance. And this is where we've moved to, and you may notice a gasometer a little bit closer by. Actually, my house is basically a mile that direction. But yes, so we've moved here. People can come and visit us, but nearly all our business is now mail order. Now, in actual fact, the premises is actually bigger than this. You can just see another window is here, and then upstairs is a little kitchen. Downstairs is another something the estate office, so it's not us. But basically, so we've basically got from about here right the way through there and downstairs, and so it is bigger than the shop. Although at the shop we had the advantage that it was very high ceilings. So if you recall, like in the shop, we had they had shop units there, but then we'd have like a row of LCD monitors stacked above it. So we can't do that anymore. But we've spent about £3,000 on racking to get everything in there and try and be organised. So it's quite interesting in the move. We've found stock. Oh, I didn't realise I had any of those. Oh, we've got some more of those, including one or two things that are selling regularly, maybe not necessarily in the RISC OS market, but there's yes, we found one pile of boxes that's effectively £3,000 worth of stock, which I'm pretty sure, well, something we're selling steadily. That's actually the one of the things that we found some years ago was there's a lot of people with RISC OS primarily not really utilising the scroll wheel. People that wanted a mouse that didn't have a scroll wheel. So we found HP made one, but they were expensive. So yes, they were, 40, 45 pounds-ish, I think, something like that when we used to them. But we then actually managed to find a good stock of quite a lot of these, and have been selling them up on eBay, because there are all sorts of people around the world. We sold like 20 to the Ordnance Survey, 10 to all sorts of odd companies, Siemens in Germany, and people like that. But they are now, we had, I think, a total of about 600 of these, but have slowly got through. Anyway, so now, well, we actually slowly moved everything across. Every day I would bring a carload when I went to the old shop, brought it back, carload, and then we had a van. About 2 months ago we moved this furniture across and sort of still operated there from the other shop. And then 4 weeks ago we moved all the computers, and now we're now based here. And so all these shelves are all now full of various bits of kit, and past it and this way and downstairs. So that's been keeping us busy and sorting out the other shop. But anyway, thank you very much. Any questions? Well, our stand's just the other side there. Sorry, carry on.
Can I just ask on the Pi 4, do you anticipate that being able to run RISC OS in the near future?
I have no more information than I think than anyone else than public information. Talk to Raw would be my suggestion on that one. I'm sure it will happen, but just how long it's going to take, I don't know, unfortunately. Thank you very much.